This video is brought to you by Squarespace. Squarespace is an all-in-one platform where creatives can stand out with their online presence. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, Knee Knits. My name is Amy, and here I talk about all things knitting, and today's video is a book review of The Sock Project by Summer Lee. In today's video, I'll be overviewing the contents of this book, including going over all 25 sock patterns that are included in here, and sharing my overall thoughts on the book, and sharing points that might help you decide whether or not this book is a good fit for you. Before we get into the book review, I do want to take a few moments to thank the sponsor of today's video, Squarespace. Squarespace is an all-in-one platform where creatives can stand out with an online presence. I'm really excited to be partnering with Squarespace to create a whole new Knee Knits website, and I've never had a website before, and it was super easy to create one from scratch. And with Squarespace Blueprint, it's really easy to drag the little components of the website exactly to where you want them to be. With a Squarespace website, I'll be able to post blog articles that might include content such as a book review, and I can easily create links to my social sites such as Instagram and YouTube. If you want to create your own website with Squarespace, head to squarespace.com to start a free trial today. Once you're ready to launch your website, head to squarespace.com/NEKnits and use the code NEKnits to get 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Thanks to Squarespace for sponsoring today's video, and now we will get into the book review. The Sock Project by Summer Lee is a book, as you guessed, all about socks. The full title on the cover is The Sock Project: Colorful, Cool Socks to Knit and Show Off. It was recently published in February of this year, 2024, and it is Summer Lee's first book. Summer Lee is a knitting designer who designs primarily sock patterns. I believe she's been designing since 2020. She has an Instagram, a YouTube, and has patterns on Ravelry. And on the back cover of the book, she is declared as a sock knitting guru. Now, this book includes 25 patterns, 5 different heels, cuff down socks, toe up socks, and tips on sizing and fit. It's a good size. It's not like a giant book, but it's also not really tiny. I think it's a decently sized craft book. It's available in paperback only. The cover is sort of this like semi-glossy, shiny cover. The pages inside are somewhat glossy. I think if you wanted to write notes in them, you could with maybe a ballpoint pen, but maybe not a pencil. It currently retails for $24.99 US. It contains 192 pages and is sold by a variety of retailers. I always recommend checking out your local yarn store first. I purchased my copy at one of my local yarn stores, but it is also available online through retailers like Amazon and Knit Picks and a bunch of other places. If you're unfamiliar with Summer Lee, she is a knitting designer based out of Oklahoma, and I feel like she's known for her very eclectic color selection in her socks, as you can see here on the cover, and throughout the book, it's just full of color. She has a lot of different sock designs ranging from basic to practical to somewhat quirky, like I really like her more recent design called the pocket socks. This book features 25 new patterns that are exclusive to the book. Now, the book boasts that it has 25 different sock patterns, but it really is so much more than just a pattern book. It really is a comprehensive guide all about knitting socks. It's split into 3 sections. The first section is materials, sizing, and fit. The second section is called basics, and the third section is 25 socks, which is then containing all of the sock patterns. I really like how this book is written. It's written in a very conversational way. Like as you're reading it, you really do feel like you're just talking to the author in a room, and she shares a whole bunch of information about knitting socks, starting with the very basics, including yarn, needles, and notions you might need to knit socks. She shares information in both an objective perspective as well as sharing her own opinions. For example, she'll cover a bunch of different sock yarns that you could use, the facts about them, but she will toss in a few sentences if she prefers or doesn't prefer that type of sock yarn. Same thing with heel construction. She goes over a bunch of different heel constructions in the book, but will also add commentary whether or not she likes or doesn't like a certain heel construction. So it's a very fun read. It feels very real and personal, and there is a brief section on sock sizing and fit, which is important to know as you're going into the patterns within the book and how you can pick your size when knitting your sock. The second section, titled Basics, goes into 5 different basic sock patterns, which you might also call vanilla sock patterns, and they basically go over different constructions of heels and a few different cuff constructions as well. There are 5 separate basic sock patterns within this section, and those are not included in the total count of patterns in this book. So I feel like you could count them as patterns because they are are written as standalone patterns, so you could say that they're like an extra 5 or there's 30 total sock patterns in this book. They all include very clear picture tutorials. Heel constructions that are covered include heel flap and gusset, afterthought heels, forethought heels, a German short row heel, as well as a Flegel heel for a toe-up sock. There is also a very brief page or two on caring for your socks, including blocking and storing them. So if you have never knit a sock before, sections 1 and 2 really covers everything that you need to know about knitting socks. Of course, there is some assumption that you have knitting experience. This is not a how to knit book. It doesn't go over the basics of knitting and decreasing and stuff like that, but it does go into the basics of sock knitting. And then section 3 is the bulk of the book. It's titled 25 Socks and includes all 25 sock patterns. It is a bit more than just the sock patterns. Each chapter has its own topic, including a bunch of different styles of socks. For example, you can see stripes, cables, knit and purl texture socks, and the beginning of each chapter has a little bit of writing about things you might need to know before going into knitting those types of socks. It might also include some tips and tutorials for that style of sock as well. The patterns within this book are standalone patterns, so if you do just want to skip straight to the pattern, you can just open up your book and flip straight to the pattern and start knitting. You don't need to read the preambles within each of those chapters. However, sometimes the patterns will say, hey, check out page 20 for a tip on how to do this method. So if you're more experienced, you might not need those extra pages, but if you are inexperienced, those extra pages are super helpful for completing your sock. I find that the patterns do sort of build on each other in terms of skill as the book goes on. So you can see the beginning patterns are stripes, ribbed socks, DK weight socks, and then as you get towards the end of the book, there are lace socks and cabled socks, colorwork socks, which you could argue are a bit more complex than the earlier patterns. So now I'll do a brief overview of each of the 25 sock patterns included in this book. I will only state if the sock pattern is not for fingering weight yarn, otherwise you can assume that the sock pattern is for fingering weight yarn. The entirety of all of these sock patterns are also cuff down socks, so I will not be repeating that for every single pattern either. Also, Summer Lee sizes her socks based on circumference of the ball of your foot. So when I state that it is made for foot sizes 3 through 10 inches, that circumference is in regards to the ball of your foot. So the first pattern is called Happy and Scrappy. It is a striped sock with scrap yarns, and the beginning of this chapter explains some tips on how to knit stripes without having a bunch of ends to weave in at the end. This pattern is available in sizes toddler, kid, and 4 different adult sizes, which is a range of 3 to 10 inches or 8 to 25 centimeters. The sock pattern features an afterthought heel. The French Connection socks are also available for toddler, kid, and 4 adult sizes, ranging from 3 to 10 inches or 8 to 25 centimeters. This features a heel flap and gusset, features the technique of jogless stripes. The next section is about faded socks. The ultimate faded sock recipe is a basic sock pattern that includes a fade of 3 different variegated yarns. It comes in sizes toddler, kid, and 4 separate adult sizes, ranging from 3 to 10 inches or 8 to 25 centimeters. This features a heel flap and gusset, and this pattern refers back to the chapter tutorial on how to create a fade that is not really perceptible by the human eye. Summer Lee sort of writes how she finagles the fading to not be visible, which is kind of cool. In the ribbed socks section, the first pattern is color blocked ribbed socks, which come in sizes toddler, kid, and 4 adult sizes, ranging from 3 to 10 inches or 8 to 25 centimeters. These feature a heel flap and gusset and feature some tips on how to create stripes with ribs or color blocks with rib that don't have those little purl bumps that stick out between each color change. The DK ribbed sock pattern in the book is the first DK sock pattern, so it includes a different needle size, a different gauge, and explains a little bit about DK weight sock yarn that you can use. It's available for sizes kid and 4 different adult sizes, so that's a foot range of 5 to 10 inches or 13 to 25 centimeters. This features a heel flap and gusset. The Breton stripe ribbed socks are another form of ribbed socks in the book, features a bunch of different fun colors, and is available for sizes toddler, kid, and 4 different adult sizes, ranging from 3 to 10 inches or 8 to 25 centimeters. This features an afterthought heel. The next chapter, chapter 8, is thick socks. So this is all about using DK weight yarn for socks. It goes in a little bit more more depth about different yarns that you can use and the benefits of DK weight socks versus fingering weight socks. The first are vanilla basic sock recipe for classic DK socks, available for sizes kid and 4 different adult sizes, ranging from 5 to 10 inches or 13 to 25 centimeters. This features a heel flap and gusset. The shorty DK socks are a shorty sock pattern for sizes kid and 4 different adult sizes, knit in a DK weight yarn and ranging from foot size 5 to 10 inches or 13 to 25 centimeters, and this features a German short row heel. The Just Add Mohair socks explains a bit about the benefit of knitting socks with a strand of mohair at a DK weight gauge. It's available for sizes kid through adult, ranging from 5 to 10 inches or 13 to 25 centimeters, and this features a heel flap and gusset and also involves some striping, so there are some striping techniques pulled from the previous chapter as well. The next chapter, Socks with Knits, Purls, and Slip Stitches, gets into a bunch of textured patterns. The first are the Surf Wax socks. These are available in 4 different adult sizes only, so foot circumference ranging from 7 to 10 inches or 18 to 25 centimeters. This is a heel flap and gusset sock pattern and features this fun little texture and some different colors used in the sock. The Trompe le Monde socks are available for toddler, kid, and 4 different adult sizes. It's a fun slip stitch pattern that also involves jogless stripes as taught in the previous chapters. It's available for foot sizes ranging from 3 to 10 inches or 8 to 25 centimeters and features a heel flap and gusset. The Soma socks feature a mock cable and some knit and purl texture and are meant for sizes toddler, kid, and 4 adult sizes ranging from 3 to 10 inches or 8 to 25 centimeters. This features a heel flap and gusset. And the last sock pattern in this section is the Luna sock pattern. This is for sizes toddler, kid, and 4 different adult socks, ranging from 3 to 10 inches or 8 to 25 centimeters. The sock features some color blocking as well as an afterthought heel. The lace section features 3 different lace sock patterns, the first being the Murmuration socks. These are available in 4 different adult sizes only, so foot ranging from 7 to 10 inches or 18 to 25 centimeters. These feature a heel flap and gusset. The Kanata socks are also only for 4 different adult sizes ranging from 7 to 10 inches or 18 to 25 centimeters, also heel flap and gusset. And the last lace sock pattern are the Camellia socks, which include sizes for kid and 4 different adult sizes, so a range of 5 to 10 inches or 13 to 25 centimeters. These feature a heel flap and gusset, and this is the only lace sock pattern in the book that is charted. The previous 2 are just written out. The next chapter is all about colorwork socks, and it has a few introductory pages all about colorwork sock knitting, featuring some tutorials and photos on how to properly tension your yarn and pick the right size sock for colorwork. The classic flea stitch socks are a basic introduction to colorwork sock knitting. It features these cute little dots and a couple different colors within one sock. It's available for sizes toddler, kid, and 4 different adult sizes, so a range of 3 to 10 inches or 8 to 25 centimeters. These feature an afterthought heel, as do many of Summerlee's colorwork sock patterns. The Linnea socks are available for sizes kid and 4 different adult sizes, ranging from 5 to 10 inches or 13 to 25 centimeters. These feature an afterthought heel and 2 different colors for color work to create these really cute vertical stripes. The Sunny Side Up socks feature a cute little fried egg motif and are a bit more complex than the previous 2 colorwork socks, as there are a bit longer floats involved in this sock pattern. It's available for sizes kid and 4 different adult sizes, so that's a range of 5 to 10 inches or 13 to 25 centimeters, and features an afterthought heel. These Scrimshaw socks are a really pretty 2-color colorwork sock motif. It's available for sizes kid and 4 different adult sizes. That's a range of 5 to 10 inches or 13 to 25 centimeters. Because the colorwork on these socks does not go around the heel, these feature a simple heel flap and gusset rather than an afterthought heel. And the last colorwork sock pattern in this book is definitely the most complex, using the most colors, and those are the Scandyland socks. However, these still only feature 2 colors per row, so you're never having to do colorwork with 3 different strands of yarn at the same time within this book. This sock pattern only comes in 2 sizes. They group small and medium together, and large and extra large. Those are adult sizes for a range of 7 to 10 inches or 18 to 25 centimeters. The last chapter of sock patterns in this book are cabled socks, and it does have a little brief preamble about cabling with socks. If you're unfamiliar with cables, this definitely tells you everything you need to know. If you've knit with cables before, it might not teach you anything new. The Harriet socks feature a simple cable motif that go down the side of the socks and is available for sizes kid and 4 different adult sizes, so that's a range of 5 to 10 inches or 13 to 25 centimeters. These feature a heel flap and gusset. The Seafarer socks take the cabling up a notch with all over cables around the whole leg and the top of the foot of the sock. They are available for just 4 different adult sizes, so that's a range of 7 to 10 inches or 18 to 25 centimeters, and these also feature a heel flap and gusset. The Cozy cabled socks are a DK weight sock pattern, also available only for 4 different adult sizes, so range of 7 to 10 inches or 18 to 25 centimeters. These feature a cabled leg in one color and then 2 different stripes of the foot of the sock in 2 other colors, and features a heel flap and gusset. And the final pattern in this book is the honeycomb and moss socks. These feature a honeycomb cable pattern as well as some moss stitch, as the name suggests. They're available for sizes kid and 4 different adult sizes, so that's a range of 5 to 10 inches or 13 to 25 centimeters. These are cuffed down and feature a heel flap and gusset. So those are all the sock patterns in the book. I'll now talk about just the book as a whole and my thoughts on the contents and whether or not this might be a good pick for you. So this book definitely contains a lot of information. It says 25 patterns, but I feel like if you include the 5 basic sock patterns at the beginning of the book, you could easily argue that this has 30 different sock patterns. However, if you are an experienced sock knitter, you probably noticed that about half of the sock patterns in this book are pretty basic. You have the basic stockinette socks, you have ribbed socks and striped socks. So if you've been knitting socks for years, you might not need those patterns because you probably already know how to do those, or you might already have patterns in your library for those types of socks. It leaves about the back half of the book, so the last 16 sock patterns that I would say are truly unique or different, like new styles of socks, including the lace patterns, the cable patterns. Now, even if you are a super experienced sock knitter, I still think there's a lot of value in the tips and tricks that Summerlee shares in this book here. There are a lot of photo tutorials, a lot of like hacks and secrets to really master and hone in on your sock knitting. How to knit in your ends as you go for knitting stripes or fades, how to create the perfect fade formula, how to knit jogless stripes. I really like the section on tensioning your yarn for colorwork socks. I think that is a very valuable resource. So you really have to look at this book as a whole, how it includes patterns and tutorials and really comprehensive guide about like everything you need to know to knit socks. It also features just so much like colorful inspiration. You can just look at the photos and see like how amazing all of her color choices are within socks. If you're looking for, a way to feel inspired with how to use your scrap yarn or how to combine color combos that you might not normally use together, this definitely has a ton of inspiration. I do really love how if you have never knit a sock before, I think you could just get away with this book and nothing else, not even a YouTube tutorial, because I feel like the photo tutorials in here are so clear. You can start with the basic sock patterns in here and work your way up to more complex sock patterns, and having never knit a sock before, you might even be able to get to like the complex colorwork socks if you just work through this book from front cover to back cover. I do really like the variety of the sock patterns within this book. I feel like depending on my sock knitting mood, I might be in the mood for a basic sock or I might be in the mood for a lace and cable sock. And I like how this book has a wide variety, so I know that no matter what my mood is, I'll be able to find a pattern in here that I want to knit at any given point in time. The size range of the sock patterns in this book is very good. I like how all of the socks, of course, are sized for adults and almost all of them are sized for kid and toddler. I think the least amount of patterns in here are for toddler, but there's definitely enough in here where you might be able to figure out your gauge and stitch counts for a smaller size if you need to. A couple things in this book that I noticed that might be considered inconvenient is that the yarn quantities for all of the sock patterns are given in length only. They're not given in weight. For example, it says like 100 yards of yarn instead of like 50 grams, which might be difficult if you're trying to shop your stash and only know the weight of the yarn and not the actual yardage. The majority of these patterns are written out and not charted. That includes like the knit and purl stitch sock patterns, the cabled sock patterns, and most of the lace sock patterns, they don't include charts. So if you really love charts and you don't like reading written out instructions, maybe you might not like all of the patterns in this book, but Summerlee does write that the patterning is very simple, which is why she opted not to to do charts. So I think this sock book would be a great pick for you if you have never knit a sock before and are willing and able to learn. I think this sock book is also great for someone who might have only knit a basic stockinette sock and wants to expand their sock knitting ability. This definitely covers all the skills you need to add different colors and different techniques to your sock knitting. I think this is great for someone who likes knitting socks and wants to expand their sock pattern library to have a variety of lace sock patterns and cabled patterns all in one place. It's a very good value. I mean, Summer Lee's sock patterns, I think retail for about $5 individually, and this contains 30 different sock patterns and the retail price is $25, so you can do the math. I also think this book is great for someone who might have only knit one type of sock construction before. Let's say you've only knit heel flap and gusset, but you want to learn about short row heels or fleagle heels. This book definitely has the instructions on how to do so, and although I was going through the patterns and sharing which heel construction each sock pattern contained, the book does explain how it's really easy to swap in your favorite heel within any of the patterns. It's kind of why the book is sort of known for having recipes, because you really can sub in different cuffs, you can sub in different heels, so you're free to mix things up if you have a different preference. Now, I think this book might not be for you. Let's say you're a very advanced sock knitter, you know your perfect sock sizing, you know your preferred heel construction and cuff construction, and maybe you were expecting 25 brand new unique sock patterns within this single book. Like I mentioned before, about half of the sock patterns are basic, so you might not be getting full value if you were expecting a book of brand new, super unique patterns. I also don't think this sock book is a great resource if you're looking for precision on sock fit. This does have a brief section on sock sizing and fit, but it is very brief and it is sort of intended for newer sock knitters. So if you are trying to really hone in on your perfect sock fit based on gauge and maybe adjust for different sizes of your leg and your heel and your ball of your foot, this book does not really have that content. It does have a reference to another sock book, which is Custom Socks Knit to Fit Your Feet by Kate Atherley. So if you're looking for things with formulas and grading on how to get like the perfect sock fit for your specific foot measurements, this book is going to be a much better resource. It gets into all of the nitty-gritty math and formulas for that, whereas the Sock Project just has a very basic overview of sock fit. I also think this book might not be for you if you are really partial to knitting toe-up socks. All of the patterns in this book are cuff down, save for one of the basic sock patterns that goes over the fleagle heel. I don't know how many of you are out there, but if you only like knitting toe-up socks, this book might not be a good fit for you. But overall, I am really excited to have gone through this book. It's really inspired me to knit more socks and be more creative with the stitches that I use in my socks and the colors that I use in my socks, and I'm really excited to start diving into all of these patterns. Although I'd call myself an intermediate sock knitter, I'm still really excited about the basic sock patterns in this book. I'm definitely going to try out some of the striping techniques and maybe the fading techniques in this book for some basic vanilla socks, and I am also looking forward to trying out some colorwork socks. I myself have never knit a colorwork sock. I'm kind of scared of them, but this book definitely makes it seem more approachable. Those scrimshaw socks are just gorgeous, so I might need to make myself a pair of those one day. It's an excellent all-in-one resource for everything about socks. Great photography, great colors, great tutorials. So I definitely would recommend this book if you are into knitting socks. So that's everything I can share about the Sock Project by Summer Lee. I hope that this book review was helpful for you to understand what's inside the book and if it's a good pick for you. Let me know what other book reviews you want to see from my channel in the future, and I'll link below some places where you can buy this book online. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you all in the next video. Bye. Hi everyone, I'm so excited to share that my brand new website with Squarespace is now live. You can head to ne-knits.com to check out my website, which includes a blog article review of this book.